Hi, this is Byron Collins with Collins Epic Wargames. Let's talk about battle groups, orders and activation, command radius, and command range, and what happens when a unit loses effectiveness. As you can see here in our urban terrain, we actually have several battle groups that are represented by these physical models. The first battle group is this group of Insagon tanks with an attached recon vehicle group. We've also got a separate unit that is composed of 2 Dragonfly units. A third battle group is composed of 4 units. One is a lead Insagon unit, another is a Wolfbite recon vehicle unit. The command unit is this Tiger Claw Super Heavy tank, and a final unit includes another Insagon group, or Insagon unit. Each of these battle groups is represented by a player's combatant tiles. Combatant tiles show everything that you need to know about the unit to play in the game. This is just one example of the organization of several battle groups. You can organize these battle groups however you'd like. Each battle group has a few things in common. One, they have a central command unit. In this case, I've chosen this Tiger Claw Super Heavy as the command unit. Remember that a command unit is not necessarily one model. It could be a whole unit of identical models. Attached to that command unit are these 3 additional units. One is a Wolfbite recon vehicle unit. And then there's 2 attached Insagon units. The second battle group includes 2 Dragonfly units. I'll talk more about why they're organized as separate units, even though there's just 2 models that I'm showing on the table. A third battle group is a Wolfbite vehicle with an Insagon as a command unit. I'm using these little white balls to indicate which units are the command units for this demonstration. Every unit in each of these 3 battle groups have effectiveness values assigned to them. I'm not going to get into how they're assigned because we want to focus on the command and control system here. But as you can see, we've got a D4 effectiveness for the Wolfbite, D6 for the command unit, D8 for the Insagon, and D10 for the other Insagon for this battle group. These 2 units have a D10 and D12 effectiveness respectively. And finally, we've got a D8 and D6 for the third battle group. Effectiveness will change throughout the game. That's why we've got a counter placed on the combatant tile. Once that changes, things start to happen that really affect the unit's performance. Current effectiveness is one of the dice that is rolled in every combat. In addition, for commanders, the current effectiveness will indicate his command range. So in the case of the Tiger Claw Super Heavy, with a D6 effectiveness, double that D6 value, the maximum value is 12, convert that to inches, so D6 equates to a 12-inch command radius. And how that works is this. The current position of the unit in the field is where you measure that radius from. 12 inches all around means that anywhere within that 12-inch command range, your attached units may receive new orders. Since the effectiveness can drop, what that means is the command range may also drop. Units that used to be within the command radius may suddenly be without the ability to receive a new order because they drop out of that radius due to the command unit taking stress and other factors. Within that command range, any of the attached units to this command unit can receive new orders. And the way we indicate that with our battle groups and these combatant tiles that are hexagonal is that the sides are touching the command unit. So I can quickly and easily see that all 3 of these attached units may receive new orders. As you might remember from our introductory gameplay video, players place new orders on each battle group at the beginning of every turn. They do this in secret, so that the orders are not known by the other player. This also represents some amount of pre-planning required for the turn. The introductory video only covered 2 orders: an advance order, which is fire and move, or move and then fire, and a fire for effect order. But there are many more orders. So, quite simply, you place the orders face down. I'm going to give each of these units within this battle group an advance order. I'm going to give the dragonflies an overwatch order. I'm going to give the third battle group, both of these units, a redeploy order. Now again, remember that you must be within range of your commander based on his current effectiveness doubled. So 6 times 2 is 12. 12-inch radius, these units may receive a new order. In the case of this dragonfly, the command unit has a D12 effectiveness. His command radius is therefore 24 inches. The Ensagon on the right, his current effectiveness is a D6. His command range is also 12 inches. Now once the orders are placed, we go to the initiative phase. Initiatives is where players will face off with battle groups. So your opponent is selecting which battle group they want to attempt to activate units within. You do the same. To accomplish the initiative phase, players will face off with their command units. When I say face off, you're going to roll your current effectiveness of the commander. Once you select a battle group, you're trying to activate units within that battle group, including the commander himself. So let's say that my opponent, he's activating a battle group that has a D8 effectiveness. I'm still trying to activate these units within this battle group. I roll a 6. He rolls a 3, even though he's rolling a D8 and I'm rolling a D6. I win that face-off. The delta of this roll is 3. That means 3 of my units within this battle group may now be activated. To do that, I flip the orders tokens over. I'm going to move my command unit first. My order is to advance, which is to move and fire, or fire and then move. My movement value is 10 inches for this tiger claw. So I grab my tape measure. I look at the tiger claw, and I want to move him 10 inches away from, up to 10 inches away from where he is now. So just to demonstrate how this works, I'm going to activate that movement, and then I'm going to go back and activate my second unit of the 3, assuming that that tiger claw has no targets right now, or else he'd get a chance to fire. Now I'm going to activate my second unit. I flip the orders token over for the Ensagon on the rear, and I'm going to move him up to his movement value of 14. I'm going to do the same with the third unit, which is 2 Ensagons represented in the field. I'm going to move them up to 14 inches away. I know I'm not going to do that here. I'm going to go this way a little bit. And his movement is now complete. So that'll be my 3 units that I activate. Now notice I didn't activate this wolf bite unit. And that's okay, because I'll get a chance to activate his order in another face-off. Once my orders are complete and those 3 units have been activated, we again go back to the face-off rolls for initiative. So as you can see here, I have 5 units that have yet to be activated in 3 separate battle groups. I have to again choose which battle group I want to activate. Overwatch is something I want to keep face down for now. The reason is that order will activate if a unit comes within my firing arc. Essentially, I get the chance to fire on that unit if it moves within my ability to make that shot. So I leave those face down. Of course, I don't tell the opponent this. So I want to try to activate this other battle group. I've got these 3 Incigons represented in the field by 1 tile. I've got a couple recon vehicles. We're calling them wolf bites. They're actually using a proxy miniature here, just to show some differentiation. So again, we face off initiative. The opponent, let's say he's rolling that D4 commander again. He rolls a 1, I roll a 3, the delta is 2. It means I get to activate both of these units. So you flip the orders token over. Redeploys my order. Once all units are activated, an Overwatch may not actually trigger. He would just show it, and we go to the end of the turn. All orders tokens are now revealed. That means you're done activating each of the 3 battle groups as a player. Your opponent is doing the same thing with his different models in the field, and of course as you get into range of each other, you're going to resolve combat. Now let's talk a bit about stress and the bad things that can happen as command units take fire. As you can see, command units again are shown physically attached with these combatant tiles to indicate that these units attached to them can receive new orders. The current effectiveness of this commander is a D6, but as that unit takes fire, it may take stress. As stress mounts, if you have additional tokens that keep piling onto this unit, at the end of this turn, his effectiveness may drop. So the D6 may actually become a D4. It'll drop a die type. 10 goes to 8, 6 to 4, and so forth. If that happens, his command radius has also shrunk. So where before it was a 12-inch radius around the central command unit, it's now become an 8-inch radius. When you go to accomplish your next turn, you have to determine if all of these 3 units are still within the command range of that central command unit. If not, because of the effectiveness of this unit that is dropped, for example, we're dropping his command range, units may become detached from the command unit. To indicate that visually, we physically separate the tile from the commander. Now, what happens to those units? And this is why you don't clear the orders tokens necessarily at the end of the turn. If a unit is detached from his commander, what that means is next turn, the command unit can, of course, give himself an order. That's not a problem, and any units attached to him. So these 2 units will receive potentially new orders. However, these units that became detached cannot receive a new order from their commander. Again, to indicate this, we've separated the combatant tiles from the commanders, so you know there's no link to receive a new order. What happens is kind of slick. The unit will try to activate regardless, and it'll try to activate the last order it received from the previous turn. So for example, in the case of this wolf bite, he'll try to continue to advance. So you do place that same orders token face down. Same thing with this Incicon unit. Now, there is a difference though. It's not an automatic activation, and there's no face-off roll for either of these units. These 2 units will both activate at the end of the turn, after all of the commanders have rolled initiative against each other and activated units within their command. But it'll still try to fight. It's not completely out of the battle, and it may eventually become reattached. The way this works for the player is that the player will determine, I want to activate this unit that's out of command. At the end of the turn, he will flip over the orders token, and his current effectiveness will indicate the die type he rolls for an activation check. There's various modifiers that go into place here, but in essence he has to pass that activation check in order to accomplish this order. Now what happens if he fails that check? If he fails that check, this order will not happen this turn. Instead, he'll be given a default order. This may be something that you don't want that unit to do this turn, but that's what it's going to do. Now if the unit passes the activation check and it's, say, an advance, you can move the unit as part of that advance order to reattach it. I want to talk a little bit about why I organized these Dragonfly units into two separate combatant units. The reason for that is I can give them separate orders. I have a little more flexibility with what they can do. Now, it is cheaper, cost-wise and points-wise, to represent both of these Dragonflies by one tile. But it gives you more flexibility that you have to pay for in points to separate them into separate units. With separate units, again, they can receive, for example, different orders. Now, they're still, in this case, attached to the same, they form one battle group, but they don't have the cohesion requirement of multiple identical units represented by one tile. Especially for aircraft, that makes them a lot more powerful, I think. So in general, cohesion, just real quickly, is about units and how they end up their movement. In the case of most models, they have to end up their movement within 2 inches of each other. Again, if these units are split apart, I can take them wherever I want as long as this unit remains within the command range of the command unit. In essence, what I'm showing here is that these battle groups that you form at the beginning of the game will likely change. They'll evolve throughout the game. Again, this game is heavy on effectiveness and how those effectiveness drops will affect and change your unit's performance throughout the game. That applies to orders and activations as well as combat. If you have any questions at all, please don't hesitate to respond to us directly on the Kickstarter page or in the comments of any update. Thanks.